Episode 16 of the BTB Project. In today's BTB short, we are going to be discussing fear. Fear is something that is common, that comes into our heads and into our lives each and every day. And it's time to overcome it. Today we will talk about how fear creeps into our lives, but also ways that we can recognize it before it happens to take a proactive approach to each and every day. You will be inspired by this episode, and you will learn breathing techniques to help you face the fear in the moment, to overcome it, to win the day. Let's get into this.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby.
Welcome to the BTB Project, designed to empower listeners to identify their why and to live their best lives no matter the circumstances. My name is Coleman Gerhardt, a former athlete and motivational coach. I've had the opportunity to inspire thousands through my story and help accomplish what they are built to be. You'll be encouraged by each and every episode, and let's get into it.
Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living out my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land.
Let's be honest. Life can be unpredictable. There's a lot going on in the world today. And these feelings of fear and worry can sometimes be perfectly natural. But worrying and being in this state of fear constantly or excessively about what may happen can get you stuck in a vicious cycle of harmful thoughts and behaviors. You know, I've recently come across a few situations, not only in my personal life, but as a coach, where fear becomes the common narrative and can literally take over somebody to a point of where they are no longer able to function in the belief of they're good enough, or they're capable, or that they're able to overcome. Fill in the blank. And in today's BTB short, I want to face fear head on and have an honest conversation about what fear can do to you, how we can overcome it, and how we can recognize it before it creeps in to where you're able to be more proactive in your life rather than reactive because of that submission to fear. Let's be honest about fear for a second here. I am a fearful person. I've had moments of vulnerability to where I struggle with self-worth, self-doubt. And it often happens when I become so consumed in life, busy, all the moving parts, that I don't take the time to work on my alignment. The important pieces, fundamental values for me to optimize each and every day. And we've talked about this in previous episodes. Things like establishing a morning routine. Things like positive affirmations. Things like putting yourself around people that are going to encourage you rather than discourage you. Fear is a combination of several different situations, whether it's a cognitive situation between our ears where we're self-sabotaging and creating this illusion of what we aren't that plays out a physical narrative to that exact thought of fear. 98% of the things that we worry about don't actually ever happen. So it's amazing. It's like this movie of life that we're playing in our mind before it actually happens. And all of a sudden, we have some choices to take place of what are we going to do with that fear? Are we going to recognize it and face it and overcome it? Or are we going to allow it to continue the story, to go from chapter 1 to chapter 2 to chapter 3, and to continue this book of a narrative that's not truly who you are? Now, listen, it's very challenging when life gets real to recognize these fearful moments. And what I mean by real is sometimes life is just hard. You know, you get that diagnosis, you get that text message from a friend that they're in trouble, or, you know, you hear about that car accident. You hear about that person that tragically lost their life. You have a tough day at school. You have a tough day at work. These are all things that happen every single day. And fear of it happening again, or fear of that being the narrative and the outcome and the conclusion to your book of life, is something that a lot of people write in their heads every single day. I've been one of them. You as the listeners, I know you've been one of them as well. And I'm here to first say that it's okay. We're human beings. We're not perfect. But today we're going to be able to construct some ways to recognize fear, overcome fear, and to have it propel you in ways that you could never imagine. This is about pattern interrupt. Fear can be a pattern, no different than having habits that are good patterns, that are healthy patterns, that are positive patterns. Fear is part of a pattern. How do we recognize when we're in a fearful state? The best way that I've been able to establish that mindset is how I start each and every day. As we've talked about morning routines in the past, it's also a checkpoint for you to see how you're doing and how you're going to be able to face the day. And knowing how you're going to be able to face the day combats fear before it actually happens. And then when it comes up during the day, you have an arsenal of weaponry, of preparedness, of almost putting on a daily armor to be able to face situations and challenges and adversity to continue the path. I am a firm believer that how you start your day and how you end your day, the bookends, right? The bookends of those 24 hours in a day, how you wake up and how you go to bed, is what truly helps acknowledge and combat fear. You know, I was just in a situation as a coach where I had a player on my team that had recently accomplished a really awesome goal of making a position that they've wanted to be in for a long time on the team. And they had to wait and pay their dues to make that position. And then all of a sudden, fast forward to one of their big goals. Their goal was to qualify to compete at the state championships. And what was really interesting is it came down to the last match, of which at the regional match, that player needed to win, at this point, one set. So the match had split sets. It was a close match. The player had to win one set to accomplish their goal. And part of my job as a coach is during changeovers, which is usually every odd game, you have 90 seconds to talk to a player to coach them through different situations. Now, you would think with a sport, you would be having a lot of conversations about, sport-specific questions, strategy, tactics. And the truth is, over the last 16 years that I've been in those situations, I've extended the same exact advice to this particular player to help them in their moment of fear. They came to me to the fence, and they were in fear that they would not be able to win a set, to win the match, to go to state. Now think about that for a second. The person in that moment is talking about a result-oriented outcome that hasn't taken place yet, that hasn't actually happened, but that narrative is being played in their mind. That person is literally flipping through the book, sitting back and watching the movie in their mind of what's going to happen. But it actually hasn't happened yet. So what do you think I'm doing during those 90 seconds on a changeover that is before a set that decides the match? I start by acknowledging that the situation's tough. I fully understand that this is something that's going to take a tremendous effort. It's hard. You've worked your tail off to get to this point, to accomplish your goal, and it's right in front of you. But how about this? Why don't we, instead of playing that outcome narrative in our mind, what are ways that we can be present? What are the truths of the reality of the situation? The truth in this particular situation was this player had several years, over 10 years of experience, putting in the work, hitting the forehands and backhands, having the smiles and belief of hitting a great serve and creating an outcome that is exactly what they wanted. So start reinforcing those narratives, those positive moments. Visualize the outcome being the way that you want to. Visualize the present state that it will take. And as those present states stack over and over and over and over again, it produces the outcome that you want. You are good enough. There's not anybody that has ever in your life doubted what you're capable of doing. The people who might not encouraged you or have been negative or who haven't been part of your journey and your path as a tennis player, those are the people that you're not wanting to walk along with anyways. Start tapping into who you are and being present. And this word discipline came up. Being disciplined is an art form because you're essentially going into a situation where it could be fearful, where it could be an outcome that you don't want, and you're protected in your armor, you're ready to go, and you're disciplined to take on whatever's in front of you. Being able to have that present mindset allows you to have an outcome goal that you want. Those are the types of conversations I'm having as a coach in a sport that I don't really talk about forehands and backhands all that much. I'm talking about real tangible methods and advice to combat fear, not just in athletics, but in life. So as the listener today, I want to walk through a really powerful exercise that crushes fear instantaneously. And outside of positive affirmations and recognizing when and how to be present, the quickest way to do that is through our breath. Our breathing combats fear. Our ability to recognize that anxiousness, that pressure, that weight, be able to recognize it and breathe through it literally removes the fear and anxiety and self-doubt from our body in an instant. So today we're going to go through a breathing exercise. It's a couple minutes long. We're going to do it together. And this is something that you can lean on each and every day, whether it's how you start your day, how you end your day, when you're in the moment and fear is facing you right in the face. You close your eyes and you go into your breathing. So let's get into it. I want to start off by having everyone just close their eyes. And as you're closing your eyes, you can be sitting down, you could be standing, doesn't matter. But I want to start with just 3 big breaths. And these breaths are going to always be in through your nose and out through your mouth. So let's begin with 3 big breaths with our eyes closed. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, after those breaths, I want to coincide some breaths with just recognizing, feeling where our body's at. First one is just with our toes. Whether you're standing or sitting, I want you to start wiggling your toes. And as you're wiggling your toes, I want one big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now let's go up to the quads. Okay, those muscles right above your knees. Whether you're standing or sitting, I want you to just start flexing those quads. And as you're flexing them a little bit, give me that big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Working our way up to the stomach. I want you to just do a little flex of your abdominal section. Just a nice, easy contraction. And as you're doing that, I want you to breathe in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Working our way up to our face. And I want you just to start smiling. Big smile, eyes closed, standing or sitting. We're going to go one final big breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. That breathing exercise we just went through was just a couple minutes long. And that is the reset that we need in those moments to combat fear, to become present, to accomplish our goals and desires in life. Each and every day, as we face fear, we face it with that technique of breathing through it, of facing it, and to overcome it. I hope this BTB short inspired you, and I want you to continue to go after those big goals, those big dreams, those big desires. Impossible's nothing. Win the day, and take care.
You're told I'll be a hard temptation.